Are you thinking about moving to Lake Mary, Florida? Well, stick around because I'm going to go over some pros and cons of living here in Lake Mary. My family and I moved to Lake Mary several years ago and we absolutely love it, but there are some things that you should definitely be aware of prior to making your move. I personally researched for about 5 years prior to moving down here from the Northeast to find the location that I felt would fit our family's needs perfectly. And I ended up landing here in Lake Mary. And we, again, love living here. There are many benefits to Lake Mary and there are some cons to Lake Mary as well. So stick around because I'm going to address them right now. Hi, my name is Stephanie and I'm a local realtor here in Central Florida, and I get calls, texts, emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move down here to Central Florida, and I love it. My family and I personally made the move several years back as well, and we love it here. So I love to pay it forward and help educate and share insight with people who may not be specifically local to this vicinity to get a gauge of what it is like living here in Central Florida. And if you would like to learn more about that, please hit subscribe, tap the bell for notifications so you can stay in tuned on just that. And if you are looking to make the move to Central Florida, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description below. There's a link there you can click and get a free relocation guide as well. And I would love to connect with you to help support you on your home search journey here in Central Florida. So what about Lake Mary? Let's get into that right now. Now this video is going to be focusing on the pros and cons of living here in Lake Mary. If you are looking for neighborhood tours, map tours, an overall general view of Lake Mary and a guide, please check out my other videos. Again, I will link them in the description below, but they will help provide you more information on this beautiful town. Okay, so first we're gonna address the pros and then stick around till the end because I am going to address the cons. I took 5 of each and hopefully it'll give you a good understanding of what to expect here in Lake Mary, Florida. So pro number 1 is location. So what I initially loved about Lake Mary was that it was located in Seminole County, which is a great county for raising a family and for schools, highly rated schools within the state. I think it's top 4 right now. And I also love that it was close to attractions and beaches. So we're about halfway between New Smyrna Beach and halfway between Disney and the attractions. So if you are looking for something to do, there's always something. It's about a 40-minute drive to New Smyrna Beach. It's about a 40-minute drive, a little less maybe, into Disney, closer for Universal. And if you're looking for downtown Orlando, you're looking at maybe about a 25-minute drive or so. The express lanes on I-4 make it very convenient, and it's about a 35-minute drive or so to Orlando International Airport, right off of 417. So location here, it's just north of Orlando. It's far enough out that you're not in the traffic, the crazy traffic of downtown Orlando or Disney and those attractions, but you're close enough to be able to drive in and out as you please. So we'll pick my daughter up from school and we'll head down for Disney on a Friday afternoon and spend the evening there. It's very doable. We are also very close, right next door to Sanford, which has the auto train if you're coming from the Northeast, and also its own international airport, smaller, but right there. So that's also very convenient. And if you love being on the water, the other great thing is Sanford is 10 minutes away and you can get right onto Lake Monroe, to St. Johns River, to the Intercoastal, to Natural Springs. It's just very easy to access those various points without being on the coast with high flood insurance and all of that. Now, number 2 for pros is schools. And as a realtor, I am not allowed to speak on schools and safety, But I will say you can do your research on greatschools.org, on niche.com. There's tons of resources out there to really get a feel for those things. But prior to making our move down here, I was a teacher up north for 10 years. And one of my biggest hesitations was making the move down to Florida and ensuring that my children were going to get a great education. So that was part of the factor of why it took so many years of me researching to find where we're going to land. And I really love Lake Mary schools, all schools, throughout Seminole County. Again, it's a very highly rated county for schools within the state of Florida. But I do love our schools here in Lake Mary. They have many schools to choose from. Seminole Science is a top rated school in all of Florida. And not only that, they have options from charter to private to public, of course, to choice to virtual homeschool. There are many options available, and there are many activities available. And being involved in the schools now as volunteer, as a parent and whatnot, I can see that they really are doing a great job with our children. So while I can't speak specifically to schools and their statistics, I will say I am very pleased with the schools here in Lake Mary thus far as my daughter is going through the public school system. Okay, number 3 is convenience. I originally moved from a suburb of Philadelphia. It's very similar to Lake Mary in the sense it wasn't right in the middle of downtown Philly and all the traffic, but easily accessible in and out. But it was also very built in the sense that it had the major stores like Targets, restaurants, Starbucks, easily accessible, and I could walk to them if I wanted to. And that's what I was sort of looking for when we moved to Florida. Now, anywhere you go in Florida, you're gonna find tons of Publix, Starbucks, Targets. You're going to find those things. But what I liked about Lake Mary was it was an established community for a long time, and it had 2 Targets within 10 minutes. I could walk to one from my house. You have many Starbucks, you have many restaurants and shops, you have so much very close. And again, that provided convenience where I'm not driving 25 minutes to take my daughter to her gym class. It's literally 5 minutes away. So I love that about Lake Mary and being a busy mom. Okay, number 4 is the infusion of nature here in Lake Mary. So we have the Seminole Trail right here that connects through about 24 miles of trail through different towns. And you also have access to, obviously parks and playgrounds and all of those things, but we're very close to a variety of natural springs as well. So if you like to swim in the natural springs, see manatees, things like that, that's right here in Seminole County and very close to Lake Mary. You also have access to Lake Monroe and St. Johns River and the Intercoastal. So if you like to be on the boat and on the water, again, that's an option. There are tons of biking and hiking trails. Now, obviously, we are very flat. We don't have the hiking hills and things and terrain that you may be used to if you're from the Northwest or even the Poconos and Northeast and that type of thing. But we do have a lot to offer. Those natural springs are so awesome to explore. So the infusion of nature here with the convenience, the shopping and the restaurants and all of the things, the major highways, attractions, all of that is definitely a plus. And number 5 is the community. So Lake Mary has been rated as the #1 town to raise families in various magazines and such. And aside from that, the people here are very kind. Of course, you're going to encounter a variety of people, right? So what you give off, you get kind of thing. But overall, the people have been so friendly here. It's quite different from what I'm used to in the Northeast, and it's very refreshing. And aside from that, the community is also very well maintained. So it's clean, it has the fountains and the lakes and the events that they do here. So they have the farmers markets every weekend, they have tree lighting ceremonies in December, and everything's lit up, and it just offers so much, and I love raising my family here. So with that said, we are going to now jump over to the cons, and I want to be honest because I need to be transparent. You should know some of these things. And again, these are a little bit opinion based, so they may vary for you. What might be a con for me may be a pro for you. So bear with me as we go through this. But number one for cons is the traffic here in Lake Mary. So it's not terrible, but Lake Mary Boulevard, Reinhardt, they can get very backed up and very busy, especially around rush hour time. So there are many companies here in Lake Mary. A lot of people commute in to work here in Lake Mary, and you can see it in the traffic patterns and the traffic flow. And sometimes what should be a 5-minute drive can take 10 minutes or so. So it's just something to consider and factor in. If I could change the traffic flow, I absolutely would. Is it a deal breaker for us? Absolutely not. The convenience of being here and everything else that factors in definitely outweigh it. And it's definitely not the traffic that you would find near Disney or downtown Orlando by any means. Okay, number two for a con is the property taxes. So here in Lake Mary, there is very little land left. Everything has pretty much been built. There's a little bit, but most of it has been built and established for a while. And you are in a highly rated school district, and that reflects in the property taxes. So the property taxes are a little bit higher than I would like them to be. I'm sure that's true of where most people reside anyway, but coming from the Northeast, they're definitely cheaper than the Northeast, I will say that. But they're not as inexpensive as some other areas in Central Florida. So if you are factoring in property taxes, you want a nice newer home, you can definitely find that more so in Sanford area with more reasonable property taxes. But yes, property taxes here can be a little bit high depending on the home that you have and the location and all of that within Lake Mary. And that sort of leads into number three, which again, this is a con for me. It might be a pro for you, but for me, I wanted a new construction home when I was moving here. Up in the Northeast, it's not common to find new construction builds where we're from. So I really wanted to have that experience when we moved down here, building a house, designing it the way we wanted. And it was very hard to do that in Lake Mary because again, there's so little land left to build on. So we did end up finding that. This was back in 2019, and we settled in on a property that we ended up really loving. They were about to close out the building process, and it was about 1.5 years really earlier than we were ready to move. So we ended up putting the deposit down on the home. We were one of the last homes built in the community, and it really was a great experience, but it is definitely harder to find that here in Lake Mary. If you are looking for more new construction, again, 10 minutes down the road, Sanford sort of borders Lake Mary right there, you can find many options for new construction there. Sanford's very up and coming. And if you'd like to learn more about Sanford, be sure to check out my other videos. I'll link below because they are very informative in terms of what to expect in Sanford, Florida. Now this sort of segues into number 4. So we built our home, and one of the primary reasons we built our home where we did was because of the school that was right across the street from our development. And being a former teacher, again, doing my research, this was the school I knew I wanted to send my daughter to. And so we built the house. She turns 4 and we started applying for a VPK, and we learned that in Lake Mary, it's not zoned according to where you live or reside that guarantees you get into that school. So just because we lived across the street didn't mean that we were definitely getting into that school. And again, the schools in Lake Mary are all highly rated. You can do your research, but it was a shock to me. So in Lake Mary, they have a lottery system. They give you 3 choices based on where you reside that you can rank 1, 2, and 3 as your choices. And then if you don't get into your choice, you can apply for a choice program to transfer to another school within Seminole County. So you do have options available, but again, coming from the Northeast where you live dictates which schools you're attending, it was very different and it was a surprise to us. Okay, and lastly, number 5 is the traffic lights. I don't get it. I don't get it, but they are so long. I swear you could write a novel at one of them, but you wait at the traffic light for a good, I don't know, 3 minutes, sometimes 5 even, depending on the light, and if it catches your signal there, if that your sensor that you're there. So that's very different. Up north, they change more frequently, where we're from anyway, and down here, I mean, you could write a book. So I feel like that's definitely a con for me, especially if you're in a rush and you catch 2 left lights that you need to make a left at, that you just have to wait there. And what's literally probably a 10-minute walk down the road, I then had to wait 10 minutes in lights just to get there. So definitely something that I would rate as a con. Now, overall, they're my top pros and cons of Lake Mary, Florida. And now keep in mind, we don't have Trader Joe's or Wegmans or Whole Foods right here, or Costco. There's things like that that I would definitely rate as a con as well, but are they deal breakers? Could things change? Sure. So not a deal breaker. But again, what factors are important for me may be different for you and vice versa, but they're my top 5 of each pros and cons of living here in Lake Mary, especially as a mom with a young family and things that are important to us when we're busy and active and whatnot. So I hope this helped. I hope this provided value to you. And if it did, remember to click subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can stay in tune on everything there is to know about living here in Central Florida and especially Lake Mary. And if you have questions on anything, please feel free to ask, drop them in the comments below, or reach out. If you would like to connect, would like support on your home search journey here in Central Florida, my contact information is in the description below. I love assisting other families and others in general, whether you're looking to retire or just explore a new place to relocate for work or leisure. I would love to assist you on your home search journey here in Central Florida. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I also have a free relocation guide linked below. If you'd like to click that, feel free to snag that as well. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you found value in this, and I will see you next time.